Hey, Wargamers, welcome back to the channel, Death from Above Wargaming. I'm Aaron.
I'm Cal.
And we are back tonight with an exciting HyperPulse Uplink. We got a whole bunch of topics tonight. We're going to talk about a collaboration report we did. We've got a little bit of insider information on what it's like to talk to the man, George Ledoux. We've got some Alpha Strike content to talk about as well. So a whole bunch of things here for you tonight. So guys, stick around. That's coming right up. All right, guys. So first up, we're going to talk about our collaboration report with Battlebound. So Cal, this was all you, my friend. Tell us about your experience with the man Tuck.
Well, Tuck and I, we go way back to like the end of 2019,
It's long term.
Yeah. It's definitely long term. I used to live in Tulsa, and he lives in Tulsa, and I couldn't find anyone to play BattleTech back then. And I guess he was all about BattleTech and really growing the community down there. And we were like totally ships in the night and never met. And after I left Oklahoma, I go back to visit family and friends. And I was at a game shop and some people were painting some mechs. And they said, hey, you ought to meet up with this guy named Tuck at this shop over here. And I was like, oh, really? And told me all about him. I was like, oh, man, I really missed out. So I got in touch with him on the Everything BattleTech Discord. And, that was pretty much it. Started gaming with him and his group down in Tulsa. Every chance I got back to visit family, and he just is really passionate about BattleTech and really growing the game and meeting other players around the entire community. So he runs this show called Battlebound.
Yeah.
Where him and his buddy Taylor go around, take little road trips to go visit the players and see what their friendly local gaming shop is like. And they do a little interview at the shop with the shop owners and with the players themselves. And then he sets up a game of BattleTech, and cool. They roll some dice.
Yeah, that is very cool. I mean, I watched, of course, the one that you were starring in. And I thought like the whole introductory segment was, I was literally laughing out loud. I don't want to spoil it, but for our guys, head over to his channel, Battlebound, and definitely check out the video, give it a like, subscribe. It's pretty good content, pretty entertaining. It's a very different style battle report, right? It's more of a recap style battle report. It was a pretty good game. I enjoyed the game overall. Of course, I don't want to give any spoilers. But Cal, I told you, I'm not God, Cal, trust the Battlytics. I'm not gonna no spoilers. So, what did you think about the game overall, though? What was your experience with that whole thing?
It was awful. It was awful. The game was a lot of fun. The game had the potential to be a lot more fun. But spoiler alert, my dice were not good to me. They failed me left and right. I think we actually call out in the video at one point in time that I rolled snake eyes 3 times in a row and not on the 2 hit locations.
Right. And you lost the Gauss rifle on what, like turn 2?
Yeah. The first exchange of fire, my Hellbreaker's Gauss rifle lost.
It's just gone, and something like that is honestly, it's crippling and classic.
Yeah, it really is.
Especially when you're running, you're not running all assault mechs, right? You guys had a pretty good balanced matchup, but it was pretty cool. You ran the mechs through Battlytics. Tuck kind of showed those numbers in the beginning. Compared to the BV, it looked like it was fairly evenly matched overall, although there were a couple matchups like the Kit Fox and the Cougar, right? I think you had, what was it, like 1 or 2 that were really high, and then you had some that were fairly low, and whereas his were more, I think, an even distribution. He had I think most of his were like 7s and 8s. You had like a couple of 4s and a couple of 9s or something along those lines. It was interesting to see it play out on the tabletop, though. So that was cool. But anyway, Definitely check it out, guys. Again, the channel is Battlebound, if anything at all, you have to watch like the first 10 minutes of this thing. I mean, it's something special for sure. So, again, thanks to Tuck for inviting us over to the channel. It was a really cool thing to do. And of course, Cal, thank you for participating in that matchup. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly my pleasure, Well, if you check out the channel they've got there, tell Tuck Cal says hi.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about the next topic here. Now, as far as the DFA team goes, most of the people see, me, Tom, Kevin regularly, because we're all out here on the East Coast. We've got Sam down in Florida. We've got you out in the middle of nowhere, or wherever it is that you are.
That hurts. That hurts.
Just come on over to the East Coast, bud. But so your primary role with us is really data science, right? That's how we got it talking, right? Was on the Discord channel, we brought you in, to really help with Battlytics. But you had a couple of other really solid ideas that I wanted to talk about. Now, the first one is what I like to call the George Ledoux experience. This was something special. So I got to give you credit for this. You basically you reached out to him, you found him, you reached out to him, you sort of drove the whole thing. What was that like, talking to a MechWarrior legend like George?
So, that was really fascinating for me. I reached out to him through his email address that was on his website, and I had to rewrite it a few times because
Well, that's just embarrassing.
When you grow up with MechWarrior 4 mercenaries, and that's like you've dumped so many hours into the Solaris arenas, that's a big deal, right? So I had to rewrite the email a few times and water it down, get rid of the fanboy stuff, as Kevin called it. It was really awesome. Surprisingly, I was really nervous. It took me a little bit reconsidering things before I finally clicked the send button for the email.
Yeah,
because I didn't know. I've never actually reached out to real voice talent before, So I was like, am I asking stupid questions? I mean, what do I do here? And then when he responded, he was totally human about it. And I will admit, though, every email that he that he gave me in our little back and forth, I read in Duncan Fisher's voice.
Like in your mind.
Yeah. Exactly. Hey, Cal. It's like, all right.
Oh my God, that's awesome. So, I mean, it was a big hit, obviously. I mean, having, Duncan Fisher, commentate on the Solaris battles going forward, it's phenomenal, right? And so, guys, if you have not seen our first sort of trial run at some new, refreshed Solaris rules based on the latest classic BattleTech Total Warfare rule set, definitely check that out on the channel. It was a blast, and certainly a lot more of that on the way. So that was pretty cool. Again, thanks for spearheading that. I kind of went away on vacation, and they're like, dude, we got a big surprise for you. I come back, I was like, that was pretty great. The other thing you worked on, which has been a big hit, I get emails about it all the time from our subscribers, the sort of the Teach a Friend How to Play Alpha Strike series, which was also your brainchild. And we kind of worked for a couple of months really refining the idea, coming up with the notion of the Mech Packs, which we partnered with Derek over at Aries on that. The whole thing, very cool. I think, I literally get emails like almost every day of people saying like, dude, this is awesome. Can you add this Mech Pack? Can you add this, me and my son were playing, and or me and my buddy just got back into this, or this renewed my interest in BattleTech. I thought Alpha Strike sucked. Like, honestly, which, like, admittedly, like when I got back into Classic a couple years ago, I was like, what is this Alpha Strike crap? Like, this looks terrible, but it's a great game, right? And I think a lot of people are starting to recognize it's a very viable platform for play with the right sort of combination of special rules and so on and so forth. So, where did the idea come from?
Well, games like BattleTech that take a little bit of effort to actually get into, you have to be passionate about it to actually really get into it, because there's some bookkeeping you got to do in the end, right? Mm-hmm. So the thing that I do is I go to YouTube, like many of us do, and say, how the heck do I play this game? Right. And you see all these videos, and not to slam any of the other content creators on YouTube, especially the BattleTech ones, but the biggest frustration that I have is I'm not really into lectures, even with my background.
Done enough of those, right? Yeah.
Yes. At the end of college, I was counting down. Okay, I've only got 13 more lectures left. I'm done. Right, yeah. But it's just it's really off-putting, and it kind of makes me not want to play games sometimes. And it has nothing to do with like the level of engagement. It really is just I don't need somebody to explain the rules to me. I need somebody to show me the rules. When I always think back to one of the best gaming experiences I had with a game that I was unfamiliar with, and that was Dungeons and Dragons. My senior year of high school, I had some buddies that were really into it, and I said, I want to make the leap into this level of nerddom.
Yes.
Can I watch you play a game? And they were like, yeah, sure, come on over this one night. And I did. Yeah.
They all had their cloaks on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't quite like that, but yeah, no, it was really cool because I only knew 3 of the guys going into it. Right. And when I showed up at the place, turns out like some other of my friends were there in the game. And at the end of the day, I think there was 8 of us sitting around this massive table. And there was one other person that I did not know, as the things were, and they were all cool with me, and they handed me a sheet and some dice, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna watch, and they were like, yeah, no, do you want to learn how to do this? And I was like, yeah. And it's like, all right, come on. So right. I played, and I was hooked ever since. I mean, tabletop board games, tabletop war games, tabletop RPGs. I was completely hooked from then on. Yeah. And that's what really drove trying to pass that idea to you was we want to help show people how to play, not teach them how to play, not explain the rules to them in layman's terms, in non-rule sounding tone. We want to actually put a game in front of them and put them inside the game, let them be the mech warriors.
Yeah.
And that was the real difference.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was great, especially, Tom sort of taking on the role of, that new player that you bring to the table and just hand a record sheet to, and you're like, all right, bro, we're playing. Like, let's just get through this. I think there are a lot of people out there, especially when it comes to these games, like it's much easier to just try it, right? Like start moving stuff around, right? I mean, when I teach my kid how to play, for example, she just, she wants to be hands-on, right? She wants to roll the dice. She wants to move the miniatures. I'm not going to sit down and be like, page 122 of the Alpha Strike Commanders edition. Exactly.
You're going to lose new players, right. just like kids. You're going to lose new players when you do that. Yeah. And that's not what we do.
Right. And, I think I said this in the intro videos, but it's always better to just, even if you have to fudge the rules, to make it easy and get them hooked, right? Like, don't worry about it. Like, what's IF? Don't worry about indirect fire. We'll do that later. It's that hands-on, simplistic. I thought it was really good. And, clearly, again, from the feedback, really resonated with a lot of the, the BattleTech fans out there, and even new players, again, on YouTube, how to play Alpha Strike, right? The other thing was the Mech Packs. I think that was a really nice touch, right? Of course, like painstakingly cross-balanced those first 3 Mech Packs that came out, so there are, multiple combinations of variants that you can play, and it's all sort of gives you a couple different options for the Lance, and they're ready to play, and Aries is great, right? He's giving them at a discount. So new players or veterans alike, you can just get in at a low cost, right? You really don't even need the book. You download the free rules. You spend, $30 on a Lance or whatever it is, $35 on, I think, some of them. And you're ready to play,
Exactly.
Which is really cool, and you know, we of course we picked the Dark Age as sort of our setting, right? Because and people are like, dude, you know, get me a clan star of, you know, Jade Falcon. And I'm like, no. Like, we don't want to overlap with the Kickstarter, right? We just we wanted to get some Ironwind medals, like, you know, official units out there that were not going to be in the Clan Invasion Kickstarter, because the last thing, at least for me, I don't want to buy and assemble a brand new Hellbringer and then get one in a month or two, and then have to reassemble it and paint it again. Like, I don't want to do that. And then they look different, and I cry because my OCD flares up. And
Sure. Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
We'll probably catch some more flack for continuing on in the Dark Age, but
well, you know, I'll be honest with you, it's pretty cool. I played Clix for a little bit in college because I was a Classic player growing up, but I had friends that were not. It was too dense, but I wanted to play some BattleTech. So, you know, the Hero Clix or whatever it was called, the Dark Age Clix was a great way to like still play BattleTech. And just the era in general, now that they're starting to push into the Ill Clan era, you know, it's sort of like it gets you there, right? I've also been reading, which of course is like a young adult series, the Rogue Academy trilogy. I think they're on book 2 now. They're great books. I thought they were going to suck because everything after the Clan Invasion for me, like the Jihad, like I try so hard to get into it, and I just like, I can't do it. So to me, it's like there's this like black hole in the lore. I talk about this all the time, but I can kind of get back into the, you know, post-Republic, like after the imaginary force fields drop and like, you know, all this other goofy stuff like just sort of disappears. Like it starts to feel for like BattleTech, I guess, to me again. And I think with the Ill Clan, the way they're bringing back a lot of the classic mechs, like when I saw like a refitted Mech Packs Zeus, I was like, like, you know, it's so cool. Right. So anyway,
you know, they've got a couple refits for the Thor too, you know,
maybe they won't suck. I don't know. Most controversial. I actually, and thank you to our subscriber that posted this. I actually fielded a very lengthy and well thought out series of comments on that mech review when I did the Summoner versus the Avatar. Still the most controversial mech review to date. You know, but we had a good conversation about, you know, the true value of mobility. And of course, to me, like mobility is great. Jump jets are great, but they're just, it blows the cost out of proportion. You know, the clan, like the speed, like they're all so fast, right? And just some of the tech, it's just way too expensive, I think. But anyway, I digress. So moving forward, I do want to make one plug here for our friend Derek over at Aries Games and Minis. Guys, I talked about the Mech Packs. We added 2 more at your request for the Lyran Commonwealth, or I guess it's Lyran Alliance at this point. I don't know. I'm bad with the lore. Cal, what is it?
I mean, Clan Invasion, or we're doing Dark Age, right? Dark Age?
I don't even know. What's the 25th?
I don't either.
25th Lyran Guard, I don't know.
Yeah, why not? They're Lyran's.
Commonwealth.
Steiner's big,
Steiner.
you know?
They're Steiner.
Yeah, there you go. Steiner folk.
And then, of course, we have one for the Capellan Confederation. And because you know I'm a Death Commando fan, we're doing a Death Commando lance. So we've got those 2 lances as well. You guys can check those out over at Aries Games and Minis, along with the other 3. We have a Free Worlds League, 5th Atrian Knights, Draconis Combine, 11th Ghost Regiment, and then, of course, the Sword Sworn representing the Federated Sons, your favorite, right? So very cool. So you can get all of those mech packs. They're at a discount. It's a one-click bundle. Very cool stuff there. And also, you can download on our website the cards. You know, we generated all these cards using the DFA sort of house software for all of these mech packs. So it's a one-click download. It's a PDF. There are 6 cards per lance. So you get a couple of variants in there. You can kind of mix and match the variants up where it makes sense to sort of end up generally in the same point value neighborhood. But for the new lances as well, we have those cards up, and check out all of the house rules and things like that. The optional rule suite that we use, I think, really brings the game to life. So I would highly recommend those. So Alpha Strike is a hot topic right now. I
Yeah.
have some of our subscribers, asking and clamoring for more classic, but we have a whole boatload that are super thrilled that we're doing the Alpha Strike and mixing that in. Of course, we're getting some classic back in with our Solaris action. And all of our Battlytics today, Cal, is strictly classic.
Yep.
But not tomorrow because we have been working on this very hard. This has been a labor of love. We've tried it even in a few different programming languages, even. So we've got Alpha Strike Battlytics on the way. So this is pretty cool, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So Cal and I were talking the other night. We were working on the code. We ran some numbers. Things are looking good. We're adding some enhancements. And we're like, Alpha Strike's really not about the unit.
Right.
It's about a lance. It's about a star. It's about a formation.
Mm-hmm.
What we're going to do is we're going to do Alpha Strike Battlytics a little different than classic. So a couple things. Number one, we built a whole sort of, I'll call it an AI suite of, sort of, it's an algorithm basically that determines the best action and movement for a mech in a given situation, right? And there's some assumptions that we baked in there based on like how we think as players. Like, when do I want to overheat? I'm not going to overheat at long range, right? If he's got full armor, that's a waste of heat. You're going to take on a penalty. You're going to drop your efficiency, right? If the guy's almost dead, the mech's got a few pips left, and I've got pretty good chance to hit. Like, so there's some intelligence built in there. Also intelligence around when do I sprint, when do I walk, when do I jump, do I want to just stand still? Like all of these different things. So it's pretty cool. It's a very sophisticated engine. It's different than classic because classic, again, moves the mech through a prescribed set of range brackets. And that's probably not going to change because classic is super complex as it is. And adding more complexity is like, I don't know if I want to do that. But with Alpha Strike, the rules are very straightforward. And so you can build this level of intelligence in a very reasonable way. Now, all of that said, the big thing really is the lance v lance. So hypothetically, if I run, a Rifleman 4D through, the simulator, and we get like an efficiency of X, right? When I stack that Rifleman in a lance, with a Zeus, a Stalker, and an Orion, right? My Atrian Knights Command Lance.
Right.
Is it going to make the Rifleman better or worse? Right? Because all of these mechs are going to perform differently. We're going to have another lance that they're going to face off against in a 48 by 48 battle grid, right? And they're just going to kind of move and they're going to pick a target. They're going to pick a best action. They're going to shoot. And that's basically what's going to happen. So we're going to track how much damage they do, how much damage they take, and we're going to calculate sort of a new lance efficiency per mech. And then you'll be able to say like, well, my baseline Rifleman was X, my lance efficiency is Y. Like, clearly this is a good mix for this mech, So it's kind of interesting. We're still kind of working through the details of that, but that'll be a very cool thing for you guys to check out. So that's on the horizon. Very exciting stuff. I don't know. Cal, what do you think?
Oh, I think it's totally rad, to put it bluntly. I mean, when you look at, as you said, the complexity that you have in classic rules, there's so much nuance with every single unit, right? But with Alpha Strike, you really have the chance to open it up to a formation, and what can that formation really accomplish when it chooses a specific unit to lock onto and kind of harass.
Right.
How does it actually behave? And I'm super stoked for it.
Yeah, it'll be cool. And, one of the things we talked about is having attack patterns, right? So right now that the current iteration of the engine, on whether or not this sticks is to be determined because we're still trying to see if the numbers actually tell a story, right? So, because they may not. But right now, the way we have it programmed is there are multiple attack patterns. Like, for example, maybe you want to like charge this mech in, right? It's only got, medium or short range attack power. It's very strong in short range and does nothing at long range. I just want to get this mech in as quickly as possible, right?
Right.
How does that affect, its survivability and this and that? So how does it affect its damage output, right? And again, when you start putting these mechs in against, another lance and you put lance mates up, the commando by itself may do very poorly, but when you put it in a lance and you sort of delay and then assault in with it or charge in with it and it takes all the fire, like, you know, how does that affect, right? And so when you see these Battlytics reports come out on YouTube, right, what you'll see is typically you're going to see, you know, like the lance, right, with baseline rolls, and then you'll say, well, what if we tweak it, you know, and we don't charge the commando in? What if we keep it back and we just let it optimally move, you know, and try to keep its survivability up, or, you know, something along those lines, right? So we can kind of play with these things, and it's sort of, it's not, you know, by any means a definitive like how to play guide, but it informs you strategically on, you know, what's the, if I have this lance, like what's typically the best thing we can do.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's kind of a cool thing that we're doing there.
Oh yeah,
so,
I agree.
Yeah. And the last thing I will mention before we wrap up here is Patreon. So I actually had a couple folks since, I have to say, for the last 6 months, I've had several people ask us, oh, do you guys have a Patreon? Do you have a PayPal account? So first of all, thank you to all you people out there. And of course I've said, no, we're not taking money right now. But I think we're at a point where, you know, we are going to spin up a Patreon account, and we're going to offer some pretty cool perks for our patrons. You know, one of them that we talked about, another guy on the DFA team came up with this idea of Battlytics portfolios. So, you know, a lot of you guys have been like, yo, can you run this mech? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm like, oh, I'll try. This would be basically a service like where you could, you know, submit a mech or submit a lance, an alpha strike, or whatever it might be. And we would basically deliver to you like a digital portfolio of this mech. You'd get the record sheet, you know, the card, you know, all the stats, like all the, you know, so basically you could kind of pour through the data and take a look at it. So I thought that was pretty cool. You know, of course, we talked about some opportunities around the lore. So people getting the opportunity to, you know, name some pilots in our units, and, you know, even decide like, hey, you know, I want to see this matchup in the Solaris arena, right? And, you know, things along those lines. So, you know, having an opportunity to kind of influence what we're doing and how the, you know, so the story is progressing and being expressed,
right?
And, you know, having your pilot or your call sign or something of your creation, you know, in the battle. So some neat things that we're going to offer out there. And of course, you know, it just helps the channel out, right? We got a lot of cool stuff going on. And you know, we always, of course, appreciate that kind of support. But I think that's all the news I've got.
Well, I mean, don't leave out the extra goodness that we were talking about with Patreon. You know, some of the behind the scenes. You know,
oh boy,
some some little outtakes, some
outtakes, real.
Maybe actually even hearing some of George Ledoux's outtakes from the Duncan Fisher recordings he gave us.
Man, those were good.
Yeah,
those were good. Yeah, so, you know, all sorts of ideas floating around out there for sure. But, you know, I guess we'll see. So, you know, we're probably targeting, you know, in the fall, middle of the fall, I think is what we're looking for that. You know, we have a whole suite of Alpha Strike tools that we're going to offer to our patrons. You know, a converter from Classic, basically a catalog where you can build out all of the mechs that you own and want to use. And you can just basically drop down, it'll pull up a card for you, you know, so there's some cool things that, you know, just utilities like a campaign tracker is another one that we're sort of working on in the background. So there will be lots of that stuff that, you know, some of you guys have been asking for, that, you know, we'll be able to deliver. So that is that. All right. Well, on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching. You know, as always, I will put a plug out there again for our friend, Derek over at Aries Games and Minis. Guys, all of your Ironwind medals, Army Painter paints. He's going to stock all the Kickstarter stuff, which is coming soon, I hope. You know, it's just, God, I can taste it. I can taste the piles of plastic.
You can taste the plastic.
I
can smell the plastic from here.
Oh God. So, you know, hopefully, you know, all that's coming soon, but Aries is going to, he's going to have it all. And he's got all the Ironwind medal stuff right now, including the exclusive DFA Mech Packs. So check it out. And lastly, just some DFA marketing. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. It is the #1 way you can help the channel. Click the little bell icon so that way you're reminded immediately when we drop a new video, which is usually every week or so. Additionally, check out our website, tons of free resources and downloads, dfawargaming.com. We've got, online Battlytics. We've got our rules, house rules, optional rules. We've got some cool record sheets, all sorts of stuff up there for you guys to check out. And they're all free to download. And of course, our custom Radical DFA soundtrack called War Games. So good. I was actually looking, lots of people are streaming this. I was sort of like honored to see this. I thought it was going to be but Spotify's got a lot of streams on it, Amazon Music, lots of streams. A lot of you guys have bought it on Apple through iTunes. So thank you. That also helps out the channel. So very cool. And, maybe we'll put out another one out next year or later this year, early next year.
I hope so.
So, I was talking to the composer. He's an awesome guy. Stay tuned for that, but definitely check out that soundtrack. Other than that, that's it. I'm all done. Cal, any other final other final thoughts?
I just want to give a quick shout out to Tuck Davian. Thanks for traveling to Missouri to come say hello to me and teach me what it's like to lose. So
I'll never let you live it down.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I know you won't.
Next time, I'm picking your mechs. I'm picking your mechs next time.
Yeah. Tuck, beware. Aaron's picking my mechs.
All right, guys. Well, listen. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Always good stuff coming from Death from Above Wargaming.